Hi, family, welcome. Oh my god, I'm so excited because today I'm going to talk about my favorite thing, which is paradox and duality and non duality. A few years ago, I made this video where I was talking that non duality is a dualistic concept. Why? Because you cannot have non duality without duality. They need each other to be. Non duality cannot be without duality. So let's talk about the duality of opposites. Good cannot be good without there being bad, and bad cannot be bad without there being good. For one to be, the other needs to be. And so duality and non duality are the same thing. And at the same time, they need each other to be. I need my opposites so I can know who I am. Because if there is no contrast or comparison, how do we know what is good and how do we know what is bad? And this concept of non duality is spoken of a lot. And it's so funny and interesting because it's so paradoxical, it's so hilarious. And so the concept of non duality can be the observation of how opposites need each other to then be. And so non duality is our observation of nature and everything around us with good and bad and night and dark and cold and hot and all of that. But at the same time, non duality can be a very dangerous concept when it is under the wing of darkness, under the wing of bad intentions. Why? Because someone can be hurting someone else or doing the most atrocious things, but because they are under the wing of non duality, then there is no judgment, there is no one to blame. So people can kill each other and hurt each other and do all these things, and there's no one to blame. And how dangerous is that? And so this concept of duality and non-duality, it's a paradox that we keep experiencing in our lives. And again, one cannot be without the other. For one to be, there needs to be contrast. There needs to be an opposite. There needs to be a mirror. So where are we going on Earth? Where are we going towards? Are we going to New Earth, to this most beautiful place where we love each other, we live in community, we honor the earth, and our technologies are sustainable, and we live in harmony with each other and with the earth? Or are we going to timelines of transhumanism and darkness and control and oppression and non-sustainable technologies and even more manipulation, even less freedom and all of that? So we have infinite timelines that we can experience on Earth. We can also say that some of us are already experiencing one reality and some of us are already experiencing the other reality. But how I wanted to offer this and bring it back for us to reflect about it is where are we going and where are we right now? Because also the concept of non-duality again can be so tricky, because if I'm just observing and I don't have an inclination to the good or to the bad, then I'm just observing and I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to perceive anything as good or bad. I'm just observing and letting it happen. But how dangerous is that? So imagine I'm here just observing, but then most people around me are destroying and controlling and hurting each other. And I'm just observing because I'm in non-duality. And it's up to us in every moment to discern what is resonant, what is truth for us in the moment. Because in some situations we can feel like the best thing we can do, the most spiritual, enlightened, whatever you want to call it, thing we can do, the most conscious thing we can do, is to observe without judgment. But because you are observing without judgment, it doesn't mean that you cannot see and that you are not perceiving. Just because you're not judging doesn't mean that you don't know what is good and what is bad. You do know it, you just don't judge it, you just observe it. But if we are all just observing reality, and then there's a bunch of people who just want to hurt each other and do terrible things, if we stay compliant because we're just observing and not taking action, then what's going to happen? While at the same time, everything is always in balance. So again, the more darkness there is, the more light there is. The more light there is, the more dark there is. And that's just it. It's how we evolve and transcend and experience all the contrasts. But again, this concept of duality is so interesting to see it play out in physicality right in front of us. So sometimes we might stay in our observation, in our non-dual perspective and observation of the world, where other times we might feel called or it might be necessary for us to choose one of the sides. Because sometimes to not choose is to choose. Sometimes to be in non-duality and not choose one of the polarities is actually choosing. So what are we choosing? Again, we can be in kind of this non-dualistic perspective and like tend to the darkness, or we can be in this non-dualistic perspective and tend to the light. And again, light is not light if there is no darkness. If there is no evil, then what's goodness, right? So they are necessary. You cannot have more light than darkness. You cannot have more darkness than light. It's equally, it's proportional, it's a mirror. Light and darkness are mirrors to each other. And ultimately, again, non-duality, they are one and the same. But again, the tricky part of just observing reality and like not choosing or not taking sides can be to choose what is already present and occurring. So there are moments where we might stay in non-duality, and there are other moments where we might need to choose. And again, it's all part of this hilarious, beautiful, marvelous play. And it's just as beautiful as it is terrifying. Life on Earth is just as beautiful as it is terrifying. What has happened in the past and what might happen in the future can be so exciting and so scary at the same time. If we just, are we here to just observe? Oh, I'm here on Earth. I'm in this body. I'm Madalena, and I'm just gonna keep observing everything around me. So I'm not gonna choose. I'm not going to go one way or another. I'm just observing. And there are moments and people who are meant to be observers. There are moments where we and I'm supposed to be the observer. But there are also other times when if I just say observing, somehow I'm already choosing a side because I am not doing anything. I'm just letting whatever current is there to keep perpetuating. And sometimes you might feel called to actually break the chain, break the pattern, and do something different. And sometimes we just observe what's going on. And being human on Earth, it's this contrast, it's this duality. There are two sides. But again, there are two sides of the coin, and the coin is just one. But to use that as an excuse to do evil, that's something we need to be aware of. And again, it's a choice, and whatever you choose, you will experience the ramifications of that choice. But remember, not choosing, it's also a choice. Not choosing is also a choice. So what are you choosing? What am I choosing? What are we all choosing on earth? I really, really love these conversations. This is like my favorite thing. The paradox of our existence, the paradox of contrast, the paradox of perception, the paradox of observation and perspective. And I will go deeper into that in another video, because for now, let's just stay in these concepts of there are two sides of the coin, but the coin is just one. There is yin and there is yang, but the yin yang is one symbol. And again, the light is in the dark and the dark is in the light. Again, light cannot be light without darkness being darkness. Good cannot be good without there being evil. There needs to be contrast. How would you know what cold is if you've never experienced the polarity of hot? How would you know what a good action is if you've never witnessed or seen or experienced someone hurting someone else or themselves? So it's like we can only see when we have mirrors and contrasts. So we cannot see something. If there is just one thing there, we cannot see it. If there's only lightness, then I cannot perceive it as lightness. Is just there. I don't know how to compare it or to contrast it, because there's nothing else to compare it and to have contrast with, you know? So again, two sides of the same coin, and one is in the other and the other is in the one. So how do we live our lives like this? It's like, okay, Madeleine, I get what you're saying. Great, now what? And that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. It's we observe, but also we realize the paradox of all of it. We realize that not choosing is also a choice. So imagine if there were people that had all these very bad intentions, and then the good ones decided that to transcend and to evolve and to be more spiritually awakened or whatever is to be observant. And so there is all these people in darkness doing all these horrible things, and the people who are supposed to be in the light or whatever are just observing. So what happens when that happens? That means that you're just observing, you're not doing anything, so you're just allowing whatever is to continue to be. So if there were people doing evil things and you're just observing and not doing anything because you're not choosing a side, then that energy will keep perpetuating. But again, the paradox is the more that energy perpetuates, even if we're just observing, that means that somewhere else on earth or in the universe, there is also people and beings doing really good things. So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter, and it does matter. And if you don't get anything that I'm saying, that's hilarious. And if you do get it, then you know what's up. What a journey to be alive on earth, to be human, to observe and be observed, to be perceived and to perceive. This reality, the more we tune in and tap in, the more we see and observe and perceive and experience, the more magnificent, hilarious, and what is the word to explain this contrast? What is the word to explain the beauty of existence? It's freaking beautiful. That you cannot have one without the other. And then you can just observe and see how they are both part of the same thing. And either light or darkness, they are both, whether there's a lot of darkness, whether there is a lot of perceived darkness or a lot of perceived light, either way, that will awaken and evolve us. So we can evolve through darkness, and we can evolve through love and light. And we can also evolve from just observing all of it and just remaining a conscious, clear, non-dual observer. But because you are an observer, you are already in duality. You are already in the game. And if you are in the game, then you are already in duality. So it's like we remain in duality, but we observe the non-duality. We don't choose a side because we know both sides are just part of the same coin and mirrors to each other, and one cannot be without the other. So we see the beauty of it all. But at the same time, when there are moments for us to choose and be in the duality, what do we choose? What do we choose? And you know what? I'm not trying to go anywhere with this video. There's not a conclusion that I want to find or share in this video. Because that's the paradox, that's the beauty, that's what's hilarious about it. It's just the observation and the perception of contrast, of paradox. I love it. I love talking about this. It's fun. It's hilarious. And it's so frustrating and maddening at the same time. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm on earth. I'm in this body. Call me Madalena. Call me whatever you want. I'm here for it. I'm here for the confusion. I'm here for the not knowing. I'm here for the contrasts. I'm here for the experience. Who knows why we are here? But here we are. And where is that here that we are? And who is that we that is here? And what does it mean to be? And I think I'm gonna leave it at that because that was super fun for me. I don't even know how to end this video. Just, I don't know what to say. Thank you for being here. If you get it, I get you. If you don't get it, that's okay. I get that also. If you agree with me, also, awesome. If you don't agree with me, awesome. I agree with me 100%, and I don't agree with me 100%. And at the same time, I don't have any opinion about what I'm saying. I'm just witnessing myself as a human experiencing the contrast and talking about it. It's hilarious. Duality and non-duality. Light and darkness, yin-yang. One and the same because one cannot be without the other. Life on earth. Bless you, my love. Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. Such a weird way to end the video, but how can you possibly end a video like this? There is no conclusion to arrive. There's no destination. There's no purpose. There's no nothing. I'm just witnessing, being witnessed, and sharing. Thank you for being here. Bless you. Bless you.